Welcome to my YouTube channel, Connect with Steph. Today's video is going to be about returning to work following maternity leave. So returning to work following a period of maternity leave can be very, very daunting. I know from personal experience that I did not want to return to work. I was very blessed and fortunate to be able to take 12 months and 3 weeks off for my maternity leave. I felt worried and stressed about how I was going to transition back into the workplace after having so long off from work, with a toddler, being a single mom and having to do everything. But I had no choice due to finances, so I had to return back to work. Before going back to work, the earliest I've managed to leave the house was 9:30 a.m. So how did I think I was going to transition back and start work at 9 o'clock? It gave me sleepless nights. I had no idea how I was going to do this. So here's some tips that help me. Remember that everybody's different. The things I'm going to say may not work for you, or they may work for you, or you just may need to tweak it so that it's in line with you and your little one. Everybody is different, so therefore just take the bits that are relevant, and the bits that don't work for you don't. And sometimes it's just a case of trial and error, and keep going and going and stop if it doesn't work and try something different. So that's what I did. But these tips in the end are what helped me transition back to the workplace. So number one, sort out your childcare. It's really important that you actually know where your child's going to be when you do return back to work. So whether that be with parents, grandparents, family members, childcare, nursery, it's really important that you sort that out as soon as possible. I do have a video on this in regards to giving 10 tips in regards to sorting out things to consider when sorting out a nursery. If you would like to watch that, I will put the link in the description below. I won't go into too much details on this one because I've already covered it in that video. Number two is to use your kit days. So a kit day, the abbreviation is KIT, and that stands for Keep in Touch Days. So everybody that goes on maternity leave has the opportunity to take 10 kit days before they're due to return to work, so that it gives them the opportunity to kind of settle in if they want to. It's optional, it's not compulsory, and it has to be in agreement with yourself and your manager. You don't have to take them, or you can take them. You can take some, or you don't have to take all. So I decided that I was going to take 3, and this gave me the opportunity to kind of go in and meet with my manager. I had met my manager previously. She was a new manager. She started 6 weeks prior to me going on maternity leave, and while I was on maternity leave, a number of the team had left. So it was really important for me to kind of go in, get to meet the team, get to meet the manager, and just see what changes had been made, because I had been out for a whole year and 3 weeks. The office location had changed, the structure had changed, so things were very, very different. It was almost like I was starting a brand new company again. It also gave the opportunity for my daughter, so when I did those Keep in Touch days, I was able to send my daughter to nursery for her settling in session. So if she was able to kind of stay there for a few hours each time, because with my Keep in Touch days, I didn't do a full day, I just did a few hours, but I was paid for the full day. So I just did a few hours for the 3 days, and it gave the opportunity. So if there was any settling in issues with my daughter at the nursery, then I could go over and try and get those things adjusted and get her settled in before I was due to start work. Also, what I forgot to add in regards to the kit days is that actually it proved to be really useful, because I spent most of that time with my kit days actually on the phone to IT, trying to sort out my laptop, trying to access all of the systems which I'd been locked out of. The systems have been updated, my passwords no longer worked, had to keep calling IT. So I was able to sort out all technical issues with my laptop, with my phone, before it actually physically went back to work. So when I started back to work officially, I'd already sorted out all those teething issues, technical issues in regards to returning back to work. Number 3 is to submit your flexible working request. So from my perspective, it's really important to do that while you're still on maternity leave. So it gives you opportunities to submit the request, gives your employer the opportunity to consider your request, and it gives you the opportunity, if you've submitted this in advance, then you have the opportunity, should your request get rejected, that you've got the opportunity, you've got time to appeal, and if that appeal doesn't work, then you've got the time to think of a plan B. So what I will do is do a separate video on how to submit a flexible working request, the process that you need to do. There have been changes that in the legislation of regards to flexible working requests, which were implemented and affected as of April 2024. So I will cover that. And I will also go through the 8 legitimate business reasons in which a company can reject your flexible working request, just so that it gives you the opportunity to be prepared should this happen. The 4th tip is to use your accrued annual leave. So because I'd been off on maternity leave for a year, that meant I had a year's worth of accrued annual leave plus bank holidays that I needed to take. So there are a couple of options that you can do with that. You could use the annual leave to extend your maternity leave further, or in my case, what I decided was that I was going to use that annual leave to phase myself back into work so that I wasn't working 5 days a week straight away. So what I did, I was able to use my annual leave so that I was paid full-time, but in effect working part-time. So for the first week, I started back part-way through the week. So I started back on a Thursday, and I was able to kind of book leave for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. For the second month, what I was able to do, I was able to use my annual leave to increase working to 3 days a week, and then the month after that I was able to use my annual leave to increase to working 4 days a week. So that was really good. And then I decided that because the expectation was then that I would return back to work 5 days a week, I decided that actually returning to work and doing 3 days a week was a major adjustment, and then moving from 3 days a week to 4 days a week was an absolute nightmare. So in the end, I decided that actually there's absolutely no way that I could do 5 days a week. It was just too much for me, and for me, I wanted to have that quality time with my daughter and have a bit of a work-life balance, and I found that I was not able to do so. So I then made that decision to look for another role which was part-time and could accommodate me working 3 days a week. Tip number 5, which I found really useful, is that at the start of the week, I would sort out my clothes and my daughter's clothes for the whole week. Now for me, that is something that I've never ever done. I always spend time in the morning and think, oh, what am I going to wear? But now that I had to think not only about myself, but I had to think about my daughter, I couldn't be spending time doing that. So planning in advance and planning our outfits for the week for myself and for my daughter was a game changer, and it made that life just that little bit easier. Tip number 6 was to meal prep. So while my daughter was at nursery, I didn't really need to think about food for her because the nursery actually gave her breakfast, lunch and dinner and snacks. So I didn't need to worry about her for the time that she was at nursery, but I only needed to be concerned about myself. So what I used to do is either batch cook on a weekend, or if I wasn't able to batch cook, just made sure that I had food in the freezer, convenience food that was easy just to heat up, because after kind of doing a long day at work, going to pick her up from nursery, coming home, doing the bedtime routine, putting her to bed, I was absolutely shattered. So the last thing that I wanted to do was cook. So being able to batch cook or just having convenience food in the freezer, which was easy just to either stick in the oven or stick in the microwave, again, was just so helpful. Otherwise, sometimes I just wasn't going to be eating till very, very late, or just not eating at all because I couldn't be bothered and just went straight to sleep. So tip number 7 was to pack the car in advance. So I'd either pack the car the night before or pack the car the morning of before she woke up. Generally it tended to be the morning of. So I would wake up at 6, get up, get ready, make sure that her nursery bag's packed, make sure that everything that I need for the day, laptop, breakfast, lunch, was all in the car, made sure everything for her was in the car, and then I'd wake her up at 7, get her sorted, get her ready, and then we'd be out the house by 7:45. So having the car already sorted, once we were ready to go, all I needed to do was just get her ready, scoop her up, and we go in the car. So I didn't need to think about, oh, I need to leave her while I go pack the car, because at that time she didn't like really being left on her own. So it was good that when she was asleep, the car was already packed and I didn't need to worry about anything else in regards to that. Tip number 8 is to have a plan for what you're going to do when your child is off sick. If this is the first time that your child is attending a nursery setting, I'm 99.9% sure that your child is going to get sick on a regular basis in the beginning. It's just what happens. So you need to think about who's going to look after your child. Is there going to be, do you have a partner? Do you have parents? Do you have grandparents? Is there somebody that can look after your child when you're sick? For me, I didn't have a plan and there was no plan B. So therefore I had to take the time off, because anybody else that could have taken looked after my daughter, they were actually at work. So it's very difficult for me as a single parent to be asking somebody else to take time off work. And also when my daughter's ill, all she wants is her mum. But you do need to kind of think about that, and is there something that your organisation can do? Can you work flexibly? And depending on your role, you may not be able to do that, and ultimately you just need to take the time off. You have to prioritise your child, and that's just how it goes sometimes, unfortunately. So those are the 8 tips that I found useful. Did you find them useful? Like I said, ultimately everybody's different. What may work for you may not work for me, and what worked for me may not work for you. You have to kind of get into a rhythm, and sometimes it's about trial and error to see what's going to work. Try it for a little while. Does it work? If it doesn't work, stop it, amend it, try something else. No one family is the same, but I'm hoping that you found some of these useful. Is there anything else that you would consider that I've not mentioned? If so, please comment in the comment section below. Thank you.